Hey everyone, my name's Sandra. I am now on week 2 of introducing my Health Fountain tool and looking at some of the different elements that can improve our own health and well-being. So this is the tool which I have been working on with many hundreds of clients. I nearly said thousands, but I think it most probably could be in the last 15 years. And it's really quite an incredible tool because it helps us become more aware of where we're at now and how we want to move forward, because coaching is all about actions and also about benefits. I know sometimes it's not so easy to do the actions, but actually when we get the benefits, that's what's really exciting. And what does it take? It takes time. My clock handbag, I'm quite well known for this clock handbag everywhere I go. I've had one for 15 years. This one actually works, but most of them haven't worked. But I've upgraded myself with a clock handbag that works. So I created this tool about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And I decided that in myself, it's all very well if you're nice and slim or you eat really healthily or you exercise, but there's lots of other elements that you need to pay attention to make sure that you are really healthy and well. So you've got to pay attention to your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your emotional well-being. If you don't have any fun, if you don't have any money, if you don't communicate your needs well, which is the one we're going to be talking about today, the element, if you don't enjoy where you live, if you're not happy in your relationships, all those things will affect your health. So I break down with this particular tool all those areas. And this week, on week 2, we're looking at this first element that we actually spoke about a few weeks ago, which was about communicating. And we talked about communicating with ourselves. Do we listen to our bodies? Do we pay attention to our own needs? And obviously communication is also about communicating to other people. Now, when I first got married, I always loved telling stories. I think stories, you always remember a good story, don't you? When I first got married, my husband and I, actually I don't even think I was married. I think it was just before I got married. We were in this supermarket and I'd wanted to buy this frozen cake. Now, I'd bought this frozen cake, which I'd been pretending that I'd made because I wasn't a very good cook. And other people had commented on this cake to my husband and said, "Oh, is that a bird's eye frozen cake?" And he said, "No, my wife made it." So I never told him the truth. So I'd buy this cake periodically when someone would come round. And this particular time we were in this supermarket and I thought, oh, I'll just go and get one. And he saw me put one in and he said to me, didn't you make that cake? Oh my God, you didn't make that cake. And I felt so ashamed. I said, no, I did make it. This is just another one. This is another. So just basically lying. And when I look back at that, communicating what I really wanted to say, what I would like to have said, if I could have rewound that, what I'd like to have said is, do you know what? Actually, I lied to you. And part of that was because I wasn't a very good cook and I was a bit ashamed. And I did buy a frozen one and I'm really sorry. But because he got really quite cross, I shoved all my emotions down, which often is what a lot of people do, and then didn't speak my truth. So I thought I communicated. I was a nurse and I seemed to communicate quite well in my workplace, but I didn't really communicate honestly at home. And that's the one area, as well as all these other areas, that make such a big difference. I say the one area, every single area makes a difference, and they're all equally as important. So how would it be from now on for you to pay attention to if you're really communicating your needs? What I find also interesting is a lot of people, when I ask them this question, is they say to me, oh yeah, I really communicate very well at home, but I don't communicate so well in my workplace, or the other way around. Now, how would it be to communicate equally well, whether you're at home, whether you're at work? That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? And that's something I work with people to help them improve. And they start to look at what they want to do different. So I would like you to pay attention over the next few weeks how often you really speak your truth, because you'll know in your heart when you don't, because you get that sort of uncomfortable, yucky feeling, don't you? And you think, actually, I wish I'd said something, or afterwards you might think so. And it takes a lot of courage sometimes, but it's all about the language we use. Now, these 3 things, I think, saved my marriage. This is how I feel. This is what I notice, and this is what's going on for me. Really, really simple. Using the I word. And then it's not the blame game. Some people think, oh yes, I'm going to be honest. And they go up to somebody else and say, you've done this and you do that. And of course the other person does this. So my suggestion is, when you've paid attention over the next few weeks to when you don't really speak your truth, maybe start to use the I word in replacement, because it is such a powerful word to use. Again, I'm going back to another story. When I actually was married, and I won't go into the detail because it's quite personal, but I remember saying to my husband about something, and he said to me, well, you liked it like that the other way, the other day, so why don't you want it to be like this now? And I remember thinking, oh yeah, I liked it like that, whatever he did that day, but I didn't like it this day. And then, so I didn't say anymore. Now, what I'd like to have said, if I can go back to that younger Sandra, I'd like to have said, yeah, you're right, I don't know what that was all about, because yesterday I wanted you to paint it green and today I want you to paint it red. Yeah, I hear your confusion, but I don't really know why that was. Just maybe I was just feeling a bit... So much more ownership of how I'm feeling, rather than feeling attacked when someone speaks to me. So I'd like you to go away for the next few weeks and really think about what I've shared. That first week about listening to your body. And if you want to recap, just go back to some of the other ones on YouTube or Instagram and have a little look. And start to really practice the I word when you really are struggling with your emotions. You really want to communicate. Well, this is what I notice. This is how I feel, and this is what's going on for me. Any one of those. You know, in a workplace, if there's some sort of difficulty with another member of staff, you know, we can always go up to people and make time and speak to them and say, do you know, I noticed that there's a bit of challenge between how we're communicating. What do you think? You know, and asking the other person is so much less sort of conflicting, isn't it, really? So I wish you well. And as I shared, this health fountain has really saved my own life in many ways. Well, I say saved my life, maybe transformed my life is a better word. So I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks with the next part, which I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise.